So, the Halloween episode of Rampage kicked off with an AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament semifinal match. And this was the match between Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston. And these two had an absolute classic, an absolute war, to the point where these two were just on their knees trading blows with each other. But in the end, Bryan would lock in a triangle choke and make Kingston pass out, but not before Kingston flipped the bird at Bryan in a last act of defiance, just like Lesnar did against Taker when Taker locked in Hell's Gate at SummerSlam 2015 to beat Lesnar. So Danielson is advancing to the finals at Full Gear, which I'm assuming he's also going to win. And then Tony Schiavone was backstage with CM Punk, and Eddie Kingston, upset at his loss, came up and interrupted the interview and got in Punk's face. So these two are probably going to meet at some point, which should be a really good match. And then the next match was a trilogy match between Dante Martin and Matt Sydal. And Lio Rush proved to be a valuable asset because he helped lead Dante to a win when Dante finished off Sydal with a double springboard moonsault. And then we had our main event, which was a trick-or-treat match between the AEW Women's World Champion Britt Baker and Abadon. And basically the stipulation to this match was that there was no disqualification, and if Abadon wins, she earns a title match. And I know what I said before about my not liking these gimmick kind of matches, you know, like with the Halloween theme and everything, but I think I was actually okay with this because it wasn't as gimmick heavy as the Dark Order Elite match was on Dynamite. This was more just a way for them to get a street fight in, so I'm actually okay with that. And this was a pretty brutal match, and it led up to the conclusion when Abadon picked up Britt and slammed her onto some thumbtacks. But Britt would retaliate with a curb stomp onto a steel chair, and Britt would try to finish Abadon off by putting tacks into her mouth, and she hit her with a thrust kick, and Britt was going for a lockjaw to put Abadon away, but Abadon just bit her to get out of it. And then obviously Jamie Hayter and Rebel had to interfere, and they distracted Abadon enough for Baker to roll up Abadon into the thumbtacks and pin her for the win. So overall, a pretty entertaining episode of Rampage, and we'll see what happens on Dynamite.